Today's lesson is called The Race Between Atalanta and Hippomenes. Hello, everyone. My name is Jeff.
I'm Roger, and today we're continuing with our story. It's a story from Greek mythology, and it's called The Race Between Atalanta and Hippomenes. Now, in our lesson last time, we did get to meet Atalanta. Remember, she was that baby girl who was abandoned in the mountains by her father, the king Iasus. She was found by a band of hunters, although I guess she was found by that mother bear first, who took care of her until the hunters found her. The hunters raised her, but she became a fierce warrior in her own right. And then later on, she had this problem with all these suitors. They thought, wow, this strong, powerful hunter woman, she's beautiful, she's talented. We want to marry her. So she had lots of suitors chasing after her. She wasn't interested because she had talked to that oracle before who said, hey, if you get married, you'll be doomed. So don't do that. So in order to discourage those suitors, she had a race with them, which they all lost, and they all died.
They were killed. That was where the discouragement came in. The suitors who were afraid backed off, and the suitors who had courage, well, they would lose, and then they would die and no longer pursue her because they were dead. But these Greek myths, there's always a catch. And you know what? The name of this particular myth is The Race Between Atalanta and Hippomenes, and I have not heard tell of Hippomenes yet. I imagine we'll get into the story of this guy today. So you know what? Let's read the second part of our story on the race between Atalanta and Hippomenes.
After seeing Atalanta race, a young man named Hippomenes fell in love with her. He knew Atalanta was far too swift for him, so he prayed to the goddess of love, Aphrodite, for assistance. Aphrodite was unhappy with Atalanta's refusal to marry, so she agreed to help, on the condition that Hippomenes offer her a tribute after he was wed.
各位好，第一部分我们看到名词 refusal 指拒绝、回绝。例如 I was surprised by Tom's refusal to meet my friends. 我很惊讶 Tom 拒绝见我的朋友。另外补充一个相关片语 turn down，表示拒绝、邀请、提议、请求等。举例来说 Nancy turned down the job offer because she didn't want to move to another city. Nancy 拒绝了那份工作，因为她不想搬到另一个城市。再来，我们看到单字 tribute， 这个字是名词，指贡品、颂词、致敬。例如 The theater was built as a tribute to a famous actor who came from the town. 这间戏院是为了致敬来自此镇上的一位知名演员。另外补充两个相关片语。第一 pay tribute to 表示向点点点致敬、赞扬点点点，像是 The police paid tribute to their sergeant, who sacrificed himself to save the lives of others. 警察向为了救其他人而牺牲自己的小队长致敬。第二 in tribute to 表示向点点点致献。举例来说 The city erected a statue in tribute to the local residents who served in the military. 该市树立了一个雕像，向当地从军的居民致献。
Okay, let's talk about the first part of our lesson for today. Remember, Atalanta was having these races against suitors whom she would defeat and kill in the end. But, you know, when some kind of athletic competition is going on, you're going to have some spectators. They're going to be there watching the competition. Those things are fun to watch. So, of course, we have Hippomenes as one of the spectators. And it says here, after seeing Atalanta race, a young man named Hippomenes fell in love with her. So he was watching the race and he thought, yep, she's a good catch. She's really beautiful. She's athletic. She's talented. She's smart. She probably has a sense of humor. We can have wonderful conversations at dinner. We'll never get bored of each other's company if we get married. So he fell in love with her. And he knew Atalanta was too swift for him, so he prayed to the goddess of love. So he knew he could marry her if he could beat her in a race, but he knew he couldn't. She was just too fast. So he thought, I need some help with this one. How can I beat her in a race? I know. I will pray to the goddess of love, who is Aphrodite, and I'll pray to her for assistance, for help.
Aphrodite was unhappy with Atalanta's refusal to marry, so she agreed to help on the condition that Hippomenes offer her a tribute after he was wed. I wonder what that tribute is going to be. There's always a weird catch in these Greek myths. Anyways, Aphrodite, she's the goddess of love, and she was unhappy with Atalanta's refusal to marry. Yes, the goddess of love wants people to get married. That's what the goddess of love wants. She wants love all over the place. So she's unhappy with Atalanta. Why is she refusing to marry? I don't like this. So she agreed to help Hippomenes. By the way, refusal, okay? If you refuse to do something, that means you say that you're not going to do that thing. Refuse is the verb. Refusal is the noun.
That's right. So maybe you asked your girlfriend to marry you. The first time she said no, so that was her first refusal. The second time you asked her, she refused. Then that was her second refusal. And then after the third refusal, you knew she wasn't interested and you gave up. But in this particular case, Atalanta is not interested in getting married. Well, maybe she is, but she was told by the oracle that if she got married, she would be doomed. So I guess she was comfortable with not ever getting married in her life. I guess she could do without that. Lots of women do. And Aphrodite, of course, was the goddess of love, and she didn't like that. Hey, you're supposed to be in love with people. You're supposed to get married. So she agreed to help Hippomenes on the condition that Hippomenes offer her a tribute after he was wed. So that's one condition. I'll help you, but you have to do something. That's the condition, okay? On the condition means that there is something that you need to fulfill in order to receive what you want. So the condition is, hey, after you win that race, you need to recognize that I helped you. You need to offer me a tribute. So, yeah, when you're on the podium after the race, you have to say, I owe my victory to Aphrodite, the goddess of love. She's the greatest goddess in the world. We all love her and respect her. Everybody get on your knees and pray to her.
So there you go. You have to give someone something to show your thankfulness to them, to acknowledge your gratitude to them in some way, shape, or form. You get the idea. I don't know what this tribute's going to be, okay? We're in the dark about this right now. And you know what? I don't like the way that this sounds at all right now. And also, I happen to know from experience that Greek myths, there are always twists. So something is going to happen when this tribute gets offered. I just have that feeling in my bones right now. Anyways, folks, let's go ahead and take a short break. When we come back, we'll continue reading from Atalanta and Hippomenes.
Aphrodite gifted Hippomenes 3 golden apples from the Hesperides, which he was to use to win the race. He would toss an apple whenever Atalanta passed him, and she would be unable to resist picking it up. Armed with the apples, Hippomenes proposed to Atalanta, and the pair began to run. Atalanta quickly took the lead, but Hippomenes rolled one of the apples in front of her, and she paused to pick it up. She gained speed, but each time she passed Hippomenes, he tossed an apple. Picking them up slowed Atalanta down, allowing Hippomenes to win the race and her hand.
第二部分我们看到片语 take the lead 表示领先带头。举例来说 The visiting team took the lead in the second half of the game 客队在比赛下半场取得了领先。或是 Ellen took the lead and drew up a marketing plan for her company Ellen 带头为公司拟定行销计划。另外除了上面的意思 这个片语还可以表示跳舞时由某方负责带舞，像是 Ted took the lead during the tango. Ted 在探戈舞中负责带舞。
Okay, so here in the next part of our lesson, it begins by saying, Aphrodite gifted Hippomenes 3 golden apples from the Hesperides, which he was to use to win the race. Is he going to eat them? Will these apples give him some special vitamins or special power so that he can beat Atalanta in a race? Well, that's not the case. We'll find out now exactly what those apples are going to be used for.
Yeah, it says he would toss an apple whenever Atalanta passed him, and she would be unable to resist picking it up, so she would slow down naturally, I guess. I guess these golden apples, they were irresistible. Even Atalanta, in the middle of a race, would stop and pick up the apple. So, armed with the apples, Hippomenes proposed to Atalanta, and the pair began to run. The race was on.
So the race began, and Atalanta quickly took the lead, or she was in the lead. That's what we say sometimes when one runner is in front of everybody else. She took the lead, but Hippomenes rolled one of the apples in front of her, and she paused to pick it up. Okay, that's the plan here. So again, he rolled one on the ground in front of her, and she probably could not resist. She paused, maybe she stopped, to pick up that apple.
Now, she gained speed again after picking it up, but each time she passed Hippomenes and got into first place again, he would toss an apple. Now, picking them up slowed Atalanta down, allowing Hippomenes to win the race and her hand. How about that? But here's the thing. I feel it coming on. The other shoe is going to drop. The thrilling conclusion of this myth is coming up soon. In fact, it's coming up right after this break.
Unfortunately, in the thrill of the moment, Hippomenes forgot about the tribute to Aphrodite. In revenge, Aphrodite caused the pair to offend the goddess Cybele, who turned them into lions and forced them to pull her chariot for eternity. And thus, the oracle's prediction came true.
第三部分，我们看到单字 revenge 这个字是名词，指报复、报仇。例如 I think it is more important to forgive and forget than to get revenge. 我觉得原谅与遗忘比报复还更重要。另外，补充几个相关片语。第一 seek revenge against or on somebody 表示向点点点报仇。举例来说 The nobleman promised to take revenge on the man who killed his father. 那名贵族誓言要向杀死他父亲的人报仇。第二 get back at somebody 表示向某人报复。我们可以说 Mary wants to get back at the boy who stood her up last weekend. Mary 想报复上周末放她鸽子的男生。最后我们看到动词 offend指冒犯、触怒，像是 Personally, I was offended by Trent's joke. 在我看来 Trent 的玩笑话冒犯到我了。另外补充这个字的形容词 offensive O-F-F-E-N-S-I-V-E offensive 指令人反感的、冒犯的。举例来说 Arnold thought the music was offensive, so he asked the restaurant owner to turn it off. Arnold 认为这个音乐很恼人，所以他请餐厅老板关掉它。或是 That word is offensive to many people. 那个字对很多人来说是冒犯的。
Okay, so the third part here finishes up our story here. This is how the race ended. Unfortunately, in the thrill of the moment, Hippomenes forgot about the tribute to Aphrodite. So again, he rolled those golden apples in front of Atalanta, and I guess he timed it out perfectly so that he could win the race. But hey, if I were him, I'd be really excited because, hey, I won the race and now I can marry this talented, beautiful, strong, independent woman. We can be together forever. And he was so caught up in the moment that he forgot that one condition. He was supposed to offer a tribute to Aphrodite, and he forgot all about it. You can bet that Aphrodite was not happy about that.
Oh, yeah. He won the race, and he was sitting there going, woo-hoo, I won the race. I can't believe it. I'm the winner, winner, winner. I'm the champion. Yeah! All right! But in the thrill of the moment, he forgot about the tribute to Aphrodite. And in revenge, Aphrodite caused the pair to offend the goddess Cybele, who turned them into lions and forced them to pull her chariot for eternity. Oh my gosh! This is terrible. What revenge. She really is getting back at Hippomenes and Atalanta as well. Yes, if you get revenge on someone, they've done something bad to you, and you get back at them, and you maybe even do something worse to them. So here Aphrodite is definitely getting some revenge. She causes the pair to offend or to make unhappy another goddess, and this second goddess turns them into lions and forces them to pull her chariot for eternity, forever.
Doesn't sound like a very good situation there for the two of them. So, yeah, this Aphrodite actually got somebody else to finish the job for her. She talked to Cybele and said, hey, these two have offended me, especially Hippomenes. He really offended me by not paying tribute to me. So can you do something to punish him and her? And Cybele said, okay, I'll help you out there, Aphrodite. So she turned them into lions. And then lions, of course, these lions had to pull that chariot, which is a two-wheeled cart pulled by horses. You may remember in the Gladiator movie with Russell Crowe, they were having a chariot race there. And so in this particular case, the lions had to pull that chariot forever and ever and ever for eternity. And thus, the oracle's prediction came true. Yes, that was the prediction of the oracle, that she would be doomed, and she was doomed. So you can bet that she's probably always complaining to him as they pull that chariot around that track, lap after lap after lap.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Hippomenes. Gosh, this is terrible. I'm going to be a lion pulling a chariot forever. Thanks to you. I imagine they're probably going to bicker at one another for all eternity. Kind of like a married couple. Interesting. All right, folks, with that, it's time for us to say bye-bye for now, but don't go away. Don't worry, don't fret. The Chinese teacher is waiting in the wings.
各位同学大家好，我是 Hanny。 我们来看今天的文法重点。课文第一部分写到，爱神不满 Atalanta 不愿成婚，那对于他拒绝结婚感到不满。课文这边它是用到单字 refusal 来表达拒绝、回绝。那这个字其实是来自动词 refuse， 我们来学习它的字首字根。好，先来看看 fuse 这个字当名词的时候，它可以指保险丝、导火线、引信等等。那它当字根的时候，就有这种 pour 或者是 melt 的意思，就是表达倾泻啊、倾倒或者是熔铸的意思。那么在 refuse 这个字当中，它的字首 re 有往回的意思。那么字根 fuse 表示倾倒，把东西把它倒回去，那就表示说你不要这东西了嘛，所以应该很容易联想到 refuse 它有拒绝的意思。好，那顺便补充几个有相同字根的单字哦。第一个是 infuse infuse， 它的字首 in 表示往内，那么字根 fuse 表示倾倒，往内倾倒，往里面灌东西进去，应该可以联想到 infuse 就有注入或是灌输的意思。好，第二个补充的是 confuse， 好，它的字首 con 表示一起， 字根 fuse 表示倾泻倾倒，当我们把所有阿里亚扎的东西全都倒在一起，各式各样的资讯没有经过组织分类，你就全部把它倒在一起放在一起，这样会造成混乱。那用这样的方式也许就可以联想到 confuse 有使什么混淆，使什么困惑难以理解的语义咯。第三个补充的是 diffuse D-I-F-F-U-S-E 它的字首 D-I-F 是来自 D-I-S 那么因为摆在 F 开头的字根前面，它就变成拼作 D-I-F 了。好，那这个字首呢，它有 apart 分开，或者是 in every direction 每个方向的语义。那么字根 fuse 表示倾倒。好，当我们把东西倒出来，让它流到每个方向，到处都是，应该可以联想到 diffuse 它有传播、散布、四散的语义吧。好，那么课文第二部分写到说，爱神送了3颗金苹果给 Hippomenes。那么每当 Atalanta 超越他，他就丢出一颗苹果，那么 Atalanta 就会忍不住想要捡起来了。好，文中这边它是用到 whenever 在这里是用来引导时间副词子句，来表达每当怎么样，每次怎么样怎么样。好，那它的意思就等同于 every time 或者是 each time， 像是 She thinks of her grandmother whenever she hears the song。 每次当她听到那首歌的时候，她总是会想起她阿嬷。好，那么 whenever 还有一个用法，就是用来引导让步副词子句，去表达无论何时，不管什么时候。那这时候 whenever 我们可以用 no matter when 来替换，例如You can come visit us whenever you want， 就是说无论你什么时候想来拜访我们，我们随时都欢迎你哦。好，以上是今天重点整理，我们来回顾今天的单字吧。
Refusal. Melissa's request for an increase in salary was met with a firm refusal from her boss. Tribute. When you visit a temple to pray, it is common to leave a tribute for the god. Thrill. Robin gets a thrill from performing in front of large audiences. Revenge. After her boyfriend left her, Daisy began planning her revenge. Offend. The politician chose his words carefully, so he wouldn't offend anyone. Eternity. Tom promised to love his wife, Kelsey, for eternity.
Discussion Starter starts now!
And now it's time for our discussion starter. Roger, what do you think the moral of this story is?
I think the moral of this story is if you're a king and you'd rather have a son, try to appreciate your daughter, okay? Daughters are pretty cool. They can grow up to be strong, powerful warriors as well. So yeah, don't have that 重男轻女 attitude about your children. Respect the girls too. How about you?
This story shows us that Greek gods are not to be trifled with. So the moral has to be, if we do happen to live in a world where the Greek gods are actually in charge, don't mess with them. Don't cross them, because they will get their revenge. Well, everyone, today's article has come to an end, and I sure hope you guys enjoyed reading and learning along with us. I am Jeff.
I am Roger.
See you next time.